The confession. The hospital room smells of disinfectant and dying flowers. Winter light filters through Venetian blinds, casting prison bar shadows across the linoleum floor. Outside, Minneapolis shivers under December snow, but inside this room at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center, the temperature never changes. Always 72 degrees. Always the same sterile air recycling through the same sterile vents. Captain James Brennan lies in a bed that has become his world. 92 years old. Terminal lung cancer. Stage 4. The doctors give him weeks, maybe days. His body, once thick with muscle from years commanding Sherman tanks, has withered to angles and hollows. But his eyes remain sharp, alert, carrying the weight of 5 decades. His grandson Michael sets up the camcorder on a tripod. 28 years old, wearing a rumpled Oxford shirt and jeans, dark circles under his eyes. The look of a man who has been running from something and finally stopped to catch his breath. He adjusts the tripod height, checks the battery indicator, presses record. The red light blinks on. Michael sits in the plastic visitor chair, pulling it close to the bed. Close enough to hear his grandfather's labored breathing. Close enough to smell the sickness. "Grandpa, just tell me what happened." The real story. Brennan's eyes shift from the ceiling tiles to his grandson's face. A ghost of a smile crosses his cracked lips. "You sure you want to know? Your grandma never did? Your father never asked?" Michael leans forward. "I need to know, before you're gone." The old man's hand trembles as he reaches for the plastic cup of water on the bedside table. Michael helps him, guides the straw to his lips. Brennan takes a sip, grimaces, pushes it away. "Everyone calls me a hero. I got the Medal of Honor. Did you know that?" Michael nods. "Of course I know. I've seen the photo, you shaking hands with the president." Brennan's eyes go distant, seeing through the hospital walls into somewhere else, somewhere darker. "But Mike, I killed my best friend, and I'd do it again." The words hang in the air like cordite smoke. Michael's hand freezes on the armrest. "What?" Brennan turns his head on the pillow, looks directly into the camera lens. December 18, 1944. Ardennes Forest, Belgium. That's when I learned what command really costs. Act 1, the calm before. The scene shifts, not in space but in time. 50 years backwards to a world of olive drab and diesel smoke. December 17, 1944. Tank Depot, 3rd Armored Division, somewhere in Belgium near the German border. The base is a chaos of organized confusion. Tanks lined in rows like steel dinosaurs sleeping in the mud. Mechanics working under floodlights, even though it is only 4 in the afternoon. December darkness comes early this far north. The air smells of gun oil, gasoline, and the particular metallic scent of cold that bites the inside of your nostrils. Snow falls in lazy spirals, not yet heavy enough to be called a storm, but persistent enough to dust every surface with white. Captain James Brennan stands beside his Sherman tank, studying it the way a rancher studies a horse, looking for weakness, for signs of strain. The tank has a name stenciled on the bow in white paint. Thunderbolt, not his choice. The crew picked it, said it fit Brennan's personality. He is 42 years old but looks older. Combat does that. So does command. His face is weathered, lined at the corners of his eyes from squinting through periscopes and across open ground. Hair gray at the temples, jaw set in the permanent clench of a man who has learned not to show fear because his men are watching. He wears tanker coveralls over a wool shirt, boots caked in frozen mud, hands raw from the cold despite the gloves tucked in his belt. On his left breast pocket, service ribbons from the Great War. He was 18 then, lying about his age to get into the fight. That was 26 years ago. He thought that war would be the only one. Thought wrong. Sergeant Frank Sullivan appears from behind the tank, wiping grease from his hands with a rag that is probably dirtier than his hands. Sully is 39, built like a fire hydrant, with the kind of face that looks like it has been in a few bar fights and won most of them. Irish, Boston accent thick enough to spread on bread. He has been Brennan's gunner for 3 years, his friend for 25. They met in the Argonne Forest in 1918. Sully pulled Brennan out of a shell crater when Brennan caught shrapnel in the leg. Carried him 300 yards under machine gun fire. Saved his life. Brennan returned the favor twice since then. That is how it works. You keep saving each other until one of you cannot be saved anymore. "Engine's running rough," Sully says, not looking up from the rag. Might be the fuel filter. Might be we're burning garbage. They're calling gasoline these days. Brennan grunts. "We move out at 0600. Make it work." Always do, Cap. The rest of the crew is scattered around the tank in various states of maintenance and preparation. Corporal Danny Reeves, the driver, sits cross-legged on the front glacis plate, writing a letter. He is 19 years old. Farm kid from Iowa. Blonde hair cut short under his tanker's helmet. Face still soft with youth, not yet hardened by what is coming. He chews on his pencil, between sentences, trying to find the right words to tell his fiancée Mary that he misses her without sounding weak. Brennan watches the kid and feels something twist in his chest. Danny's father was Thomas Reeves, Brennan's sergeant in the Great War. Thomas took a bayonet meant for Brennan in the Meuse-Argonne offensive. Died in Brennan's arms, coughing blood, making Brennan promise to look after his boy if anything happened to him. 10 years later, Brennan kept that promise, became Danny's godfather, taught him to drive a tractor, then a truck, then a tank. Watched him grow up, and now here he is about to go into combat in the biggest German offensive since D-Day, and Brennan cannot shake the feeling that he has failed Thomas Reeves by letting his son get anywhere near this war. Private First Class Marcus Chen sits on the turret, field stripping the .30 caliber coaxial machine gun for the third time today. 27 years old, Chinese-American from San Francisco. Quiet, precise, moves like a man who has something to prove. Because he does. His neighbors, Japanese-Americans, got sent to internment camps in '42. Marcus enlisted the next day. Wanted to make it clear whose side he was on. Wanted to show America that not all Asian faces were the enemy. But America does not always see the difference. Brennan has watched other soldiers give Marcus looks, heard the whispers, seen Marcus pretend not to notice, seen the way his jaw tightens, the way his hands work faster on whatever task he is doing, channeling rage into efficiency. Marcus is the best loader Brennan has ever seen, can get a shell into the breech in 4 seconds flat, even when the tank is bouncing over terrain at 20 miles an hour. Fast enough to give them an edge in combat, fast enough to keep them alive. Private First Class Joseph Goldman, the radio operator, emerges from the turret hatch carrying the SCR 508 radio set. 21 years old, Jewish, New York, smart. Too smart for the Army, probably, but he enlisted anyway after news of the concentration camps started filtering back from Europe. His grandmother was in Poland, past tense. He has not heard from her in 2 years. Assumes the worst. Fights with the kind of focused anger that comes from knowing your family is being murdered and you are too far away to stop it. Joey, as everyone calls him, sets the radio on the engine deck and starts checking connections. His hands are steady, methodical. Everything Joey does is methodical. It is how he stays sane. Radio check in 10 minutes, he says, to no one in particular. Brennan nods. Good. We're going to need comms where we're going. Where's that, Cap? Danny asks, not looking up from his letter. Wherever they tell us, when they tell us. That is the Army way. Hurry up and wait. Prepare for everything. Know nothing. The crew works in comfortable silence. The kind of silence that comes from men who have been together long enough to know each other's rhythms, long enough to trust without speaking. They are not friends, exactly. The Army does not allow that kind of equality between officers and enlisted, but they are something closer. Something forged in shared danger. Brennan watches them and feels the weight of command settle heavier on his shoulders. These men are his responsibility, his to lead, his to keep alive, his to bury if he fails. The light is failing now, the early winter darkness swallowing the depot. Floodlights kick on with a hum and a click. Harsh white light pooling around the tanks. In the distance, the sound of artillery. Faint, constant, like thunder that never quite arrives. Sully climbs up beside Brennan, wipes his hands one more time, tosses the rag into the toolbox. You got that look, he says quietly. What look? The look that says, you know something we don't. Brennan does not answer immediately. He pulls a pack of Lucky Strikes from his pocket, shakes one out, offers the pack to Sully. They light up, the match flare bright in the growing dark. Briefings at 2000 hours, Brennan says. Colonel Shaw, Division Ops. And I saw the intelligence reports on his desk when I turned in the maintenance logs. Sully takes a long drag, exhales slowly. Bad? Heavy German armor concentrations. Lots of radio traffic, movement in the Ardennes. They're falling back. Everyone says so. Everyone's wrong. Sully looks at him, eyes narrowed against the cigarette smoke. You gonna tell the boys? Brennan stares at the glowing end of his cigarette. Orders are orders. We'll know what we need to know at the briefing. Jim, That is all Sully says. Just his name. But it carries weight. 25 years of friendship. The unspoken question. Are you going to lie to them? I'm going to follow the chain of command, Brennan says. Like I always do. Even when the chain of command is wrong, Brennan takes a last drag and flicks the cigarette into the mud where it hisses out. Especially then. The briefing. 2000 hours. 8 p.m. military time. The briefing tent is crowded with tank commanders and platoon leaders. Maybe 50 men packed into a space meant for 30. Canvas walls rattle in the wind. A single oil stove struggles to heat the interior. Everyone keeps their coats on. Maps cover the folding tables. Topographical maps of the Ardennes forest. Arrows drawn in grease pencil showing German positions. Question marks indicating unknowns. Too many question marks. Colonel William Shaw stands at the front, pointer in hand, looking confident in the way that senior officers often look confident when they are actually guessing. He is 50, West Point, career officer. Good at paperwork, decent at tactics, untested in the kind of desperate fighting that is coming. Gentlemen, the colonel's voice cuts through the murmur of conversation. Settle down. The room quiets. Men lean forward. Cigarettes glow in the dim light. Intelligence indicates the Germans are in full retreat along the Western Front. We have been tasked with pursuit and interdiction. 3rd Armored will advance through the Ardennes, cut off retreating enemy units, and push toward the Rhine. He taps the map with his pointer. Expect scattered resistance. Maybe some old Panzer IVs. Maybe some infantry holdouts. Nothing you boys can't handle. We'll be back for Christmas dinner at the latest. Laughter. Relieved laughter. Men want to believe it. Want to think the war is winding down. Want to go home. Brennan does not laugh. He stares at the map, at the arrows, at the question marks. Questions? Shaw asks. Brennan raises his hand. Captain Brennan, go ahead. Sir, the intelligence reports on your desk this afternoon showed heavy armor concentrations in grid 7-7 and significant radio traffic indicating coordinated movement. That doesn't sound like scattered resistance. The tent goes quiet. Every eye turns to Brennan. Shaw's jaw tightens. Those reports are unconfirmed, Captain. SHAEF analysts believe it is a disinformation campaign. The Germans want us to think they're stronger than they are. Classic deception. With respect, sir, what if SHAEF is wrong? Shaw's face hardens. Are you questioning Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, Captain? I'm questioning the interpretation of raw intelligence, sir. The silence stretches. Shaw stares at Brennan. Brennan stares back. Neither blinks. Your concern is noted, Captain, but the decision has been made at levels far above your pay grade. You have your orders. Execute them. Dismissed. The briefing breaks up. Men file out, chattering about Christmas and mail from home and how good it will be to get this over with. Brennan stays behind, approaches the map table. Sir, a private word. Shaw sighs, waves the other officers out. Brennan, don't make this difficult. I saw the intercepts. The Germans aren't falling back. They're massing for an attack. And if they are, we'll deal with it. But I will not spread panic based on unconfirmed reports. It's not panic to prepare for the worst. It's insubordination to question orders in front of junior officers. Shaw leans close, voice dropping. Listen to me. You're a good tank commander, but you're not intelligence. You're not operations. You do what you're told when you're told. That's how this works. That's how we win. Brennan looks at the map one more time, at the arrows pointing into the Ardennes, at the thin blue line representing friendly forces, at the red circles representing German positions. Yes, sir, he says quietly. He walks out into the cold night. Sully is waiting by the tent flap, smoking another cigarette. Well, he doesn't believe it, or he doesn't want to believe it. Either way, we're going in. Are you going to tell the boys? Brennan stops, looks up at the sky. Cloudy. No stars. Just the dull orange glow of distant artillery reflected off low clouds. No, I'm going to follow orders. Sully drops his cigarette, grinds it under his boot. Then God help us. The night before, they gather around a small fire in an oil drum, the 5 of them. Against regulations, but everyone is doing it. Too cold not to. The fire pops and hisses, fed with scraps of wood and diesel-soaked rags. Danny is still writing his letter. Marcus is cleaning the machine gun. Again. Joey is tuning the radio, listening to static and fragments of music from Radio Luxembourg. Sully is playing solitaire on an upturned crate, cigarette dangling from his lips. Brennan sits on a camp stool watching them, memorizing their faces. Captain, Danny says, not looking up from his letter, can I ask you something? Shoot, if I don't make it back. Will you give this to Mary, and will you tell her I wasn't scared? Brennan feels his throat tighten. You'll deliver it yourself, kid. But if I don't, will you tell her I wasn't scared, even if I was? The fire crackles. Sparks spiral up into the darkness. Yeah, Danny, I'll tell her. Danny nods, folds the letter, tucks it into his jacket pocket. Thanks, Cap. Marcus sets down the machine gun, looks at Brennan. Sir, why did you join, the first time, I mean, in the Great War? Brennan considers the question, considers lying, decides against it. My father was a drunk, used to beat my mother, beat me. One day I came home from school and found her on the floor. Didn't move for 3 days. When she finally woke up, I packed a bag and walked to the recruiting station. Lied about my age. Figured dying in France was better than living at home. The crew is silent. Even Sully, who knows this story, stays quiet. What about you, Marcus? Why'd you sign up? Marcus stares into the fire. My neighbors were the Watanabes, Japanese. Been in America for 30 years. Ran a grocery store. Good people. Then Pearl Harbor happened. Army came and took them away. Put them in camps in the desert. Mr. Watanabe kept saying it was a mistake. That America would realize. That they'd come home soon. He picks up a stick, pokes at the fire. I joined the next day. Figured if I fought hard enough, proved myself enough, maybe they'd see that not every Asian faces the enemy. Maybe the Watanabes could come home. Did they? Marcus shakes his head. Not yet. Joey leans forward, elbows on his knees. My grandmother sent me a letter 2 years ago. From Poland. She said the Nazis were taking Jews. Said they were being sent to work camps. Asked if I could send money for bribes to get her out. He pauses. I sent everything I had, never heard back. Then the news started coming about the camps, about what they're really doing there. And I realized I'll never hear from her again. His voice cracks on the last word. So that's why I'm here. Because somewhere in Poland, my grandmother is dead. And the men who killed her need to die too. Sully flips a card, red on black, moves it to a new pile. Christ, this crew is depressing. Anyone got a happy story? Danny raises his hand. I'm getting married when I get home. To Mary Catherine O'Brien, prettiest girl in Dubuque. We've been engaged since I left. I asked Captain Brennan to give me away. Since my dad died and all. Brennan looks at the kid, 19 years old, whole life ahead of him. If he makes it, be an honor, Danny. Sully sets down his cards. All right, my turn. I got 4 kids. Maggie, she's 12. Thomas is 10. Little Frank is 8. And Sarah is 5. Sarah's the troublemaker. Reminds me of her old man. He pulls a photograph from his jacket, shows it around. 4 kids on a porch, squinting in the sun. His wife, Margaret, standing behind them, hand on Thomas's shoulder. When I get home, I'm going to take them all to Fenway Park. Going to buy them hot dogs and Cracker Jack and watch the Red Sox lose like they always do. And I'm going to be the happiest man alive. He tucks the photo away. That's why I fight, not for flag or country or any of that. I fight so I can see my kids grow up. They sit in silence. The fire burns low. Someone should add more fuel, but no one does. Brennan stands. Listen up. Tomorrow we roll out. I don't know what we're going to face, but I know this. We're a crew. That means we look out for each other. That means nobody gets left behind. That means we bring everyone home. He looks at each of them in turn. Danny, you're going to give that letter to Mary yourself, Marcus. You're going to see the Watanabes come home. Joey, you're going to tell your grandmother's story so people remember. Sully, you're going to take your kids to Fenway. And me, I'm going to make damn sure you all live long enough to do it. He picks up his helmet. Get some sleep. Oh, 600 comes early. He walks away toward the officer's tent. Behind him, the crew sits in silence around the dying fire. The morning, December 18, 0530. Half an hour before dawn. The world is gray and cold. Brennan wakes in his cot, instantly alert. Old soldier's habit. He does not remember his dreams, but his pillow is damp with sweat. He dresses in the dark. Wool undershirt, coveralls, boots, jacket, helmet. Outside, the depot is stirring. Engines coughing to life. Crews performing final checks. The smell of coffee from the mess tent, weak and bitter, but hot. He finds his crew already at the tank. They have been up for an hour. Everything is ready. Sully reports. Full fuel, full ammo load. Radio checks out. We're ready to roll, Cap. Good. Brennan climbs onto the tank, runs his hand along the turret. Cold steel. Familiar. He has been in 5 different Shermans over the past 2 years. 3 were destroyed. 2 were transferred to other units. Thunderbolt is his 6th. He hopes it will be his last. Danny sits in the driver's position checking gauges. Marcus stands by the turret watching the horizon. Joey is inside warming up the radio. Sully climbs into the gunner's seat, starts traversing the turret. The hydraulics whine. "Mount up," Brennan orders. They load into the tank. 5 men in a steel box. Brennan drops through the commander's hatch, settles into his seat. The interior smells of gun oil and unwashed bodies and the peculiar metallic scent of a tank that has seen combat. He puts on his helmet, plugs into the intercom. Comms check. Driver up. Gunner up. Loader up. Radio up. Good. Danny, fire her up. The engine roars to life. 30,000 pounds of steel and fury. The tank vibrates. A living thing. The convoy forms up. 20 Shermans, 4 platoons, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Brennan commands 2nd Platoon Charlie Company. 5 tanks. Thunderbolt is the lead. Colonel Shaw's voice crackles over the radio. "All Charlie units. This is Charlie 6. Move out." The convoy rolls forward, east, toward the Ardennes forest, toward the Germans, toward whatever is waiting. The road. They drive through countryside blasted by years of war, burned villages, abandoned farms, fields cratered by artillery. Refugees on the roads pushing carts loaded with everything they own. Old men, women, children, hollow faces, dead eyes. Danny has to slow down, weave through them. Some wave, most just stare. Marcus, watching from the turret, speaks quietly on the intercom. "This is what we're fighting for, right? So this doesn't happen to America?" Brennan does not answer immediately. He is watching a girl, maybe 8 years old, carrying a baby. Her shoes are too big. Her coat is too thin. She looks up at the tank as it passes. No fear, no hope, just exhaustion. "Yeah, Marcus, that's what we're fighting for." They drive deeper into the Ardennes. The forest closes around them. Pine trees heavy with snow. Narrow roads winding through valleys, perfect ambush country. Brennan studies the map. They are following a route designated Axis Red, supposed to link up with 1st Infantry at a crossroads village called Malmedy. Then push east. Simple. Clean, assuming the Germans cooperate. The radio crackles. Other units calling in positions. All quiet. No contact. Everything according to plan. "Too quiet," Sully mutters. Brennan agrees but says nothing. They pass through a village. Empty. Doors standing open. Personal belongings scattered in the street. A child's doll lying in a puddle. "Sir," Danny's voice is tight. "Why would civilians leave in such a hurry? Maybe they know something we don't." The convoy continues. The road climbs, following a ridgeline. On the left, forest. On the right, a steep drop into a valley. No room to maneuver, no place to turn around. Committed now. Brennan's instincts scream, "This is wrong, this is a trap." But the orders are clear. Follow Axis Red, proceed to Malmedy, no deviation. He keys the intercom. "All positions stay alert. Watch the tree line, watch for movement." "Copy," the crew responds. They round a bend, and the world explodes. The ambush. The lead tank in the convoy, Alpha 3, disintegrates. One moment it is there. The next it is a fireball. Chunks of metal spinning through the air. The turret cartwheels end over end, crashes into the trees. "Panzerfaust," Brennan shouts. "Danny, reverse, get us off this road." But there is nowhere to go. Tanks behind them, cliff to the right, forest to the left. German infantry emerge from the trees 50 yards out, firing Panzerfausts, rocket-propelled grenades designed to kill tanks. Alpha 4 is hit. Mobility kill. Track blown off. The crew bails out, running. Machine gun fire cuts them down. All 5 men dead in seconds. "Sully, target left. Troops in the open," Brennan orders. Sully traverses the turret. The main gun swings left. On target. "Marcus, load he." "He up. Fire." The gun roars. The tank rocks back from recoil. The high explosive shell detonates in the middle of the German infantry. Bodies fly. "Reload. Load AP. I see armor." And he does. Emerging from the forest, not Panzer IVs, Tigers. German heavy tanks. 88mm main guns. Armor too thick for the Sherman 75 to penetrate frontally. "Oh Christ," Sully breathes. "How many?" Brennan counts. 6, 8, 10, 12. Too many. "All Charlie units. This is Charlie 2, he broadcasts. "We are under attack. Heavy armor. Grid reference 372584. Request immediate support." Static. Then Colonel Shaw's voice, distant, distorted. "Charlie 2. Say again. You're breaking up. Contact! Contact! We are engaged by Tiger tanks. At least 12. Need artillery. Need air support. Need anything. More static. The radio's not breaking up, Brennan realizes. They are jamming us. Alpha 5 explodes. Then Bravo 6. The Germans are methodical, picking off the convoy from front to back. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Danny, get us into those trees, now. Sir, the ground is too soft. We'll bog down. Do it anyway. Danny cranks the wheel. The Sherman lurches left, crashes through saplings, plows into the forest. The tracks dig in, the engine screams. They penetrate 50 feet before the tank stops, wedged between two pines. We're stuck, Danny reports. Then we fight from here. Sully, find targets. Behind them, the rest of the convoy is dying. Tanks burning, men screaming. The Germans advance with terrifying efficiency. Brennan sees Lieutenant Harris's tank. Delta 2 take a hit. Engine compartment fire. The crew bails out. Harris first, then his loader, his driver, his radio operator. The gunner, Corporal Tim O'Brien, gets stuck. His leg caught on something. Harris runs back, tries to pull him free. The ammunition cooks off. The tank erupts. Harris and O'Brien are thrown clear, burning. Brennan makes a decision. Marcus, Joey, go get them. Bring them back here. Sir, that's 50 yards of open ground. Go! Marcus and Joey drop out of the tank, sprint across the killing ground. German bullets kick up dirt around them. Somehow they are not hit. They reach Harris and O'Brien, drag them back to the tank, heave them up onto the engine deck. Both men are alive but badly burned, screaming. O'Brien's leg is shattered. Harris's face is black and blistered. Get them inside, Brennan orders. They manhandle the wounded men through the turret hatch. Barely fit, the interior of the tank is now packed with 7 men instead of 5. No room to move. No room to work. Harris is in shock, eyes wide, mouth moving, but no sound. O'Brien is sobbing, in agony. We need morphine, Joey says. We don't have any, Marcus responds. Then he's gonna suffer. Brennan looks at Harris. The man is dying, probably has hours at most. Every breath is torture. His hands are claws, skin peeling off. Harris's eyes find Brennan's. Lucid for a moment, he reaches out, grabs Brennan's arm with what little strength remains. His lips move. Brennan leans close. Here's the whisper. Do it. Brennan pulls back, shakes his head. Mike, I can't. Harris's grip tightens. His voice is a rasp. Please, I'm dying anyway. Give me peace. He fumbles at his holster, pulls out his 1911 pistol, presses it into Brennan's hand. My morphine. Give it. To O'Brien. He needs it more. Sully is listening. He grabs Brennan's shoulder. Jim, don't you dare. But Brennan looks at Harris, sees the pleading in his eyes, sees a man begging for mercy, and he cannot do it. Mike, hold on. We'll get you out. Get you to a medic. Harris's face twists, not anger, disappointment. Then I'll burn until I die. He closes his eyes. Brennan hands the pistol back, takes the morphine syringe from Harris's first aid kit, injects O'Brien. The man's screaming subsides to whimpers. Outside, the battle continues. But for Brennan's crew, trapped in the trees, time stretches. The Germans are busy destroying the convoy. 20 tanks, 75 men, going up in smoke. It takes 15 minutes, that is all. 15 minutes to annihilate an entire company. Then silence. The Germans do not advance. They hold position, waiting. Brennan keys the radio, tries again. Any Charlie unit, any friendly? This is Charlie 2. We are immobilized and under fire. Request immediate extraction. Static. He tries division frequency, core frequency, even tries the emergency channel. Nothing. They are cut off. Alone. 7 men in a broken tank, surrounded by an enemy that outnumbers them 20-1. Harris is still breathing, barely, each breath a wet rasp. O'Brien has passed out from the morphine. The rest of the crew sits in stunned silence. Sully finally speaks. Jim, what do we do? Brennan looks at the map, looks at his watch. 1400 hours, 2 p.m. Still plenty of daylight left. He makes a decision. We wait for dark. Then we move on foot, leave the tank, infiltrate back to friendly lines. Leave the wounded? Marcus asks. Brennan closes his eyes. We can't carry them. Not through enemy territory. Not 15 miles. So we leave them to die. That is not a question. It is a statement, an accusation. Brennan opens his eyes, looks at Marcus. You got a better idea? Marcus does not answer. They sit in silence, waiting for darkness, listening to Harris slowly die. Present day interruption. The scene shifts. Hospital room. 1994. Old Brennan lies in bed, tears running down his face. Michael has stopped the camera. He sits forward, hand on his grandfather's arm. Grandpa, maybe we should stop. Brennan shakes his head. No, you wanted to know, you need to hear all of it. His breathing is labored. The nurse comes in, checks his vitals, adjusts his oxygen. Mr. Brennan, you need to rest. Not yet. Not until I finish. The nurse looks at Michael. Michael nods. She leaves. Brennan takes a ragged breath, continues. Harris died. 4 hours later, screaming because I did not have the courage to help him. Michael's voice is quiet. You did what you thought was right. I did what I was trained to do. Follow orders, preserve the mission, value the many over the few. He turns his head on the pillow, looks directly at Michael, and it was wrong. That is what I learned that day. Sometimes the moral choice is the hard one, and sometimes you do not get to choose who lives and who dies. Sometimes that choice is made for you. Pause. But Michael, the worst was yet to come. He gestures weakly at the camera. Turn it back on. You need to see the rest. Michael hesitates, then presses record. The red light blinks on, and Brennan continues the story. Nightfall, December 18, 1800 hours, 6 p.m., dark now, temperature dropping. Inside the tank, the crew is freezing, breath visible in the dim light from the map lamp. Harris is dead, body already stiffening. They cover him with a blanket, but there is nowhere to move him. He stays in the tank with them. A reminder. O'Brien is in and out of consciousness. When he is awake, he cries. When he sleeps, he whimpers. Outside, the Germans have set up camp. Brennan can hear them, talking, laughing, cooking food. The smell of sausage and cigarettes drifts through the open commander's hatch. They think we are dead, Sully whispers. Think we abandoned the tank. Maybe we should, Danny says, his voice is shaky, close to breaking. Maybe we should just go. Slip away, get back to our lines. And leave O'Brien? We leave him or we all die. Brennan listens to his crew argue, sees them fracturing, sees the fear taking hold. He makes a decision. We stay. Everyone stops talking, looks at him. Sir? Sully's voice is careful. We stay. We hold this position. We make them pay for every inch. Cap, there's 5 of us. 7 if you count the wounded. There's at least 50 Germans out there, plus 12 Tigers. We can't win. We do not have to win. We just have to not lose. What's the difference? Winning means destroying them. Not losing means surviving until relief arrives. Relief isn't coming, Marcus says flatly. We're off the net. No one knows we're here. No one's coming. Brennan looks at him. Then we make them think relief is coming. We make noise. We shoot. We move. We make them believe there's a whole company here, not just one tank. That's suicide. Maybe, but it's better than running. Why? Marcus's anger is rising now. His voice gets louder. Why is it better? We're gonna die anyway. At least if we run, we might make it. Brennan's voice drops, cold, hard. Because if we run, every man who died in that convoy died for nothing. If we run, the Germans push through here unopposed. If we run, we are cowards, and I did not spend 25 years in this army to die a coward. Silence. Then Sully speaks. I'm with Jim. Always have been. Danny, voice small, uncertain. Me too. Captain Brennan has never steered us wrong. Joey nods. I came here to fight Nazis. Let's fight Nazis. Everyone looks at Marcus. He stares at Brennan for a long moment. Then slowly, deliberately, he racks the charging handle on the coaxial machine gun. Fine. We fight. But when this goes sideways, when we're all dying, I want you to remember. I told you so. Fair enough, Brennan says. He opens the map, spreads it on his lap, uses a pen light to study it. All right, here's the plan. The plan. It is a terrible plan, but it is the only plan they have. The tank is immobile, but the gun still works. They have 40 rounds of 75mm ammunition, 20 armor-piercing, 20 high-explosive. They have 2,000 rounds for the coaxial 30 caliber. They have their personal weapons, rifles, pistols, grenades. Not much, but enough. The German camp is 200 yards away, visible through gaps in the trees. Firelight, silhouettes, targets. Brennan's plan is simple. Wait until they are asleep. Then hit them. Hard. Fast. Create chaos. Make them think they are under attack by a superior force. Force them to pull back. Buy time. It is a plan based on hope, on luck, on desperation. But it is a plan. They wait. 2100 hours, 9 p.m. The German camp settles down, fires banked, sentries posted, most of the men sleeping. Brennan checks his watch, checks his crew. Danny is shaking. Marcus is stone-faced. Joey is praying quietly in Hebrew. Sully is cleaning his pistol for the 10th time. O'Brien is unconscious. Harris is dead. All right, Brennan says softly. Here's how it works. Sully puts one round he into the middle of their camp. Then we hit them with the machine gun. 30 seconds of fire. Then we stop. Let them think. Let them panic. Then we do it again. How many times, Marcus asks. Until they leave or we run out of ammo. And if they counterattack, then we die fighting. No one argues, they are beyond that now. Brennan climbs up to the commander's position, peers through the cupola, spots the German camp, marks the range. Range 200 yards. Sully, traverse right 20 degrees, elevation +5. Sully adjusts. On target. Marcus, load he. He up. Brennan takes a breath. Fire. The gun roars, the tank rocks. The shell arcs through the darkness and detonates in the center of the German camp. Explosions, screaming, chaos. Machine gun, Brennan shouts. Sully presses the trigger. The .30 caliber chatters. Tracers streak into the camp. Men running, falling, dying. 30 seconds, then silence. The Germans are in chaos, shouting, firing blindly into the darkness, not sure where the attack came from. How many attackers? Whether to advance or retreat. Brennan counts to 60, lets them stew. Again, another HE round, another burst of machine gun fire. The Germans panic. Brennan can hear officers shouting orders, engines starting. They think they are under attack by a battalion. They think the Americans have counterattacked. They pull back, load into vehicles, retreat 200 yards deeper into the forest, regroup. It worked, Danny breathes. Holy shit, it actually worked. For now, Brennan says. But they'll figure it out. Come daylight, they'll see it as just us. Then they will come back, in force. So what do? We do it again and again. All night, keep them off balance, keep them scared, make them think twice. And tomorrow? Tomorrow we find out if relief is coming. Sully looks at Brennan. His face is unreadable in the darkness. Jim, you know relief is not coming. Then tomorrow we die, but not tonight. They fight through the night. Every hour they fire. Every hour the Germans pull back a little more. By dawn, the enemy is half a mile away. Dug in, waiting. Brennan's tank is almost out of ammunition. 10 rounds left. 500 rounds for the machine gun. Maybe. The crew is exhausted. No food. No water except melted snow. No sleep. Running on adrenaline and fear. O'Brien wakes up screaming. The morphine has worn off. His leg is infected. Smell of gangrene. Joey tries to calm him, but O'Brien is delirious. Thrashing. Screaming for his mother. We need to amputate, Marcus says quietly. With what? Sully snaps. We don't have surgical tools. We don't have anesthesia. We do that, he bleeds out in minutes. So we just let him die? We keep him comfortable. That is all we can do. Brennan listens to this and feels something break inside himself. These are his men, his responsibility, and he is failing them. He climbs out of the tank, stands in the cold morning air. The forest is quiet, snow falling gently, beautiful, peaceful, deceptive. He knows what is coming. The Germans will regroup, bring up more armor, more infantry, overwhelm them. It is just a matter of time. Unless he climbs back into the tank. How much fuel do we have? Danny checks the gauge. Maybe 20 gallons, enough to run the engine for an hour, maybe 2. Can you get us unstuck? Danny hesitates. Maybe, if we rock this tank. Use the engine in bursts. It'll burn a lot of fuel, but yeah, maybe. Do it. Sir? Sully's voice is uncertain. If we move, we give away our position. They already know where we are. But if we can relocate even just 100 yards, we can hit them from a new angle. Keep them guessing. It is a desperate gamble, but desperation is all they have left. Danny starts the engine, guns it. The tracks spin, dig in, the tank rocks. Forward, back, forward, back. Slowly, inch by inch, they pull free. It takes 10 minutes. 10 minutes of noise and exhaust and prayer. But they do it. The tank is mobile again. Brennan navigates them deeper into the forest, finds a new position. Hold down behind a fallen log. Good field of fire. Covered flanks. They wait. The second day, December 19. 0600 hours. Dawn. The Germans attack. Not probing, not testing. Full assault. 20 Tigers, 200 infantry, mortars, artillery, everything. They are done playing. Brennan watches them come through the periscope. A wall of steel and men. Unstoppable. All positions. Fire at will. Sully starts shooting. Marcus loading as fast as his hands can move. Joey calling out targets. Swaz. Danny making micro adjustments to keep the gun on target. They knock out 3 Tigers in the first minute. Good shooting. Lucky shooting. But it does not matter. There are too many. The tank takes a hit. Turret traverse damaged. Can only turn 90 degrees now. Half their field of fire gone. Another hit. Vision port cracked. Brennan can barely see. Danny, get us out of here! I'm trying! The tank lurches backward. Crashes through undergrowth. The Germans follow. Relentless. O'Brien is screaming again. Thrashing, his leg is black now, swollen, stinking. Joey is trying to hold him down, but O'Brien is strong. Stronger than he should be. Pain giving him strength. Marcus, help me! But Marcus is loading shells. Cannot stop. If he stops, they all die. Sully hits another Tiger. Brew up, crew bails, machine gun cuts them down. This is it, Sully says calmly. This is the end. Brennan knows he is right. They have maybe 5 more minutes before they are overrun. He thinks about his options. Surrender, fight to the death, run. None of them are good. He keys the radio one more time, knowing it is futile, knowing no one is listening. Any Allied unit, this is Charlie 2, 7 men, 1 tank, grid 3, 71582. We are being overrun, if anyone can hear this. Tell my family, I love them. Tell my crew, they were the bravest men I ever knew. Static. Then impossibly a voice. Charlie 2, this is Overlord. We read you, hold position, air support inbound, ETA 10 minutes. Brennan's heart stops. Say again? Hold position, Captain. Help is coming. Brennan cannot believe it, will not believe it, but he has no choice. All positions. We hold for 10 more minutes, just 10 minutes. The crew does not cheer. They are too tired, too scared. But they fight. They fight like men who have been given a reason to live. And 10 minutes later, they hear it. The sound of aircraft engines, P-47 Thunderbolts, American fighter bombers, screaming down from the sky, rockets, bombs, machine gun fire. The German attack dissolves into chaos. Tigers burning, infantry running. The fighters make 3 passes. When they pull away, the forest is on fire, bodies everywhere. The German force shattered. Silence. Then from the west, the sound of diesel engines, American engines. Relief has arrived. 3rd Armored Division, 50 tanks, infantry support. They are saved. The cost. But salvation comes with a price. As the relief force arrives, O'Brien dies. Quietly, almost peacefully. Just stops breathing. Harris has been dead for hours. The crew climbs out of the tank, covered in oil and blood and soot, barely able to stand. A colonel dismounts from his jeep, looks at the burning German vehicles, looks at Brennan's single tank, looks at the exhausted crew. Captain, how many men? 7. Started with 5. Picked up 2 wounded. And now, 5, 2K. The colonel shakes his head. Son, you just held off an entire regiment for 18 hours. Do you understand what you've done? Brennan looks at the bodies. Allied and German, boys who will never go home. I got 2 men killed, sir. You saved 5, and you delayed the German advance long enough for us to reinforce. You may have saved this entire sector. Brennan does not feel like a hero. He feels like a man who made terrible choices and somehow survived. The colonel puts a hand on his shoulder. I'm recommending you for the Medal of Honor. Brennan looks at Sully, at Marcus, at Danny, at Joey, his crew, his family. They are alive. That is all that matters. Sir, if you're giving out medals, give them to my crew. They're the ones who held. The colonel nods. We'll take care of them, Captain. All of them. Brennan turns back to the tank, sees Harris's body being removed. O'Brien's body, wrapped in blankets, carried away. He thinks about the promise he made, to bring everyone home. He failed, and he will carry that failure for the rest of his life. Present day finale, hospital room, 1994. Brennan finishes speaking. His voice is barely a whisper now. And that, Mike, is how I became a hero. By getting men killed, by making choices no one should ever have to make. Michael wipes his eyes. Grandpa, you did your best. In an impossible situation. My best was not good enough. It was. You saved 5 men. I killed 2. You didn't kill them. The war killed them. Brennan shakes his head weakly. There is no difference, not to the dead. Pause. But Mike, there is one more thing. The hardest part. Michael leans forward. What, Grandpa? Brennan's eyes fill with tears. The worst part comes tomorrow, in part 2. When I tell you about Danny. What about Danny? Brennan closes his eyes. How I murdered my godson. The words hang in the air. Michael's hand freezes on the armrest. Grandpa, what are you saying? Turn off the camera. I need to rest. But you can't just stop there. You have to tell me. Tomorrow, part 2, tomorrow. His breathing slows. The morphine drip does its work. He drifts into sleep. Michael sits in the chair, staring at the camera, at the red light still blinking. Slowly he reaches out, presses stop. The screen goes black. White text appears. Hospital room. December morning, 1994. The light through the Venetian blinds is pale and weak. Winter sun struggling through gray clouds. Everything in this room is gray. The walls, the floor, the machines. Even Brennan's skin has taken on that hospital pallor, the color of a man halfway to the grave. Michael arrives at 0800, 8 a.m. He has not slept, spent the night watching and rewatching part 1 on his camcorder. Trying to understand, trying to prepare himself for what comes next. But you cannot prepare for some truths. He sets up the camera. Same position as yesterday, same angle. The continuity matters. This is not just a recording. It is testimony, evidence, confession. Brennan is awake, has been awake for hours, the nurse says. Refused his morning morphine. Said he needs to be clear-headed, needs to remember everything. Michael sits, presses record. The red light blinks on. Grandpa, I'm ready. Brennan's eyes focus on his grandson. Really look at him. See the exhaustion, the fear, the need to know. No, you are not ready. Nobody ever is. But I will tell you anyway. Because you asked, and because I owe it to Danny. Pause, breathing, steadying himself. Yesterday I told you about the ambush, about Harris and O'Brien dying, about holding position for 18 hours, about relief arriving on December 19th. Michael nods. We got pulled back to refit. New tank, new ammunition, hot food, 4 hours of sleep. Then on December 20th, we were back in it. Why? You just survived hell. Why send you back out? Because the Battle of the Bulge was not one battle. It was hundreds. Everywhere along the line, the Germans were pushing. We were needed. Simple as that. His voice is stronger now, the morphine withdrawal sharpening his memory, making everything too clear, too vivid. December 20th. We moved north, toward a town called Bastogne. You know it? Michael shakes his head. It was being surrounded, American paratroopers trapped inside. The 101st Airborne. We were part of the relief column. Supposed to break through, link up, save them. And did you? Eventually, but not without cost. Brennan closes his eyes. When he opens them again, he is not seeing the hospital room. He is seeing something else. Somewhere else. That is when I killed Danny. Act 1, the mission. December 20th, 1944. 0630. Dawn breaking over frozen Belgian countryside. Brennan's crew is back in a Sherman. Not Thunderbolt. That tank is being repaired. This one is a replacement. Fresh from the depot, no name painted on the bow yet, just a serial number. Some crews think that is bad luck, starting a combat operation in an unnamed tank. But Brennan does not believe in luck anymore. Just in mathematics, just in probability, just in the cold calculus of who lives and who dies. The crew is the same 5 who survived the ambush. Brennan, Sully, Danny, Marcus, Joey, bruised, exhausted, but alive. They have been fighting for 2 days straight. No real rest, just catnaps in the tank, cold rations, instant coffee that tastes like mud. The kind of exhaustion that gets into your bones, makes your hands shake, makes your vision blur at the edges. Danny looks the worst. His face is hollow, eyes sunken, hands trembling on the control levers. He has not spoken much since the ambush, just drives, follows orders, stares straight ahead. Brennan watches him and feels guilt twist in his gut. The kid is 19. Should be in college, should be courting Mary, should be anywhere but here. But here he is, and here they all are. Marcus is different too, quieter. The rage from the ambush has turned inward. He performs his duties perfectly, but there is no connection, no banter, just mechanical efficiency. Joey keeps checking the radio, obsessively, as if expecting news from home, news that will never come. His grandmother is dead, he knows it, but still he hopes. Sully tries to hold them together, cracks jokes, shares his contraband whiskey, tells stories about his kids. But even he is fraying, the weight is showing. The convoy forms up, 30 tanks this time. Lessons learned. They will not get caught in another ambush. Air cover overhead, infantry screening the flanks, artillery on call. The mission is simple. Drive 15 miles north, break through German lines, relieve Bastogne. Simple. Except nothing in war is ever simple. Colonel Shaw's voice crackles over the radio. All units, this is Charlie 6. We have reports of heavy enemy resistance along Route Baker. Expect contact within 5 miles. Rules of engagement are weapons free. Anything that moves and is not marked friendly, you kill it. Understood? A chorus of Rogers and copies. Brennan keys his mic. Charlie, 2 copies. The convoy rolls out. The country. They drive through landscape that looks like the moon. Artillery has turned everything into craters and rubble. Forests are skeletal. Trees shattered. Villages are ash. The snow is black with soot. Refugees clog the roads again. But these are different from the ones they saw 3 days ago. These are fresh, recently displaced, running from something close, something immediate. Danny slows the tank. An old woman is in the road, standing over a body. Young man, maybe 20, dead. Bullet hole in his forehead. She looks up at the tank, does not move, just stands there, daring them to run her over. Marcus, on the turret, shouts down in broken French, "Madame, you must move. We cannot stop." She says something back. Brennan does not speak French, but he understands the tone. Anger, accusation. "Where were you? Why did you not protect us? Why did you let this happen?" Danny stops the tank completely. Against orders, against protocol. "Cap, we can't just leave her. We have to. We have a mission." She's standing over her son. Brennan knows this, can see it. The way she touches the dead man's face. The way she keens. A sound he has heard too many times. The sound of a mother losing a child. He thinks of his own wife. Dead 3 years now. Childbirth complications. The baby died too. A son. Stillborn. Brennan never got to hold him. Never got to say goodbye. Just got the telegram while he was in training. Came home to a funeral. That was when he stopped believing in God, or fairness, or any kind of cosmic justice. "Move her," he orders. "Sir?" "Marcus, get down there and move her, gently, but move her." Marcus drops from the turret, approaches the woman. She screams at him, hits him. He takes it, does not fight back, just wraps his arms around her and lifts, carries her to the side of the road, sets her down beside her son's body. She collapses, sobbing. Marcus stands there for a moment, looking down at her. Then he turns and climbs back onto the tank. His face is unreadable. The convoy moves on. Nobody speaks. The first contact, 5 miles up Route Baker. The Germans are waiting. Not another ambush. This time it is a deliberate defense. Roadblock, anti-tank guns, dug-in infantry, machine gun nests, the works. The lead tank, Alpha 1, takes a hit. Mobility kill, track blown off. Crew bails, makes it to cover. The convoy spreads out. Standard drill. Suppressing fire while infantry dismounts. Flanking maneuvers. Combined arms. This is what they train for. Sully starts engaging targets. Concrete bunker at 11 o'clock. Pillbox at 2. Infantry in the tree line at 9. Marcus loads. Joey calls targets. Danny maneuvers. Brennan coordinates. They are a machine, efficient, deadly. The German defense breaks after 20 minutes. Not routed, just pulled back. Delaying action, making the Americans pay for every yard. The convoy regroups. 1 tank disabled. 3 men wounded. Not bad, could be worse. They continue north. The town. At 1400 hours, they reach a small town. No name on the map, just a grid reference. Maybe 24 buildings. Stone church. Town square with a fountain. Nothing special. Except it is full of Germans. 2 companies of infantry, at least. Maybe more. Holed up in the buildings, using civilians as shields. This is going to be ugly. Colonel Shaw sets up a command post in a barn half a mile south. Calls a meeting of platoon leaders. Brennan attends. The colonel spreads a map on a crate. Gentlemen, we need this town. It's the only road north that can support armor. We go around, we add 6 hours to the relief operation. 6 hours the paratroopers in Bastogne do not have. So we go through, someone says. We go through, but we do it smart. Artillery barrage first. 15 minutes. Soften them up. Then tanks roll in. Infantry follows. Clear building by building. What about civilians, Brennan asks. Shaw looks at him. What about them? Sir, if we drop artillery on the town, we'll kill civilians. Guaranteed. That's war, Captain. We can't let the enemy use our compassion against us. We can give them time to evacuate. We don't have time. Every hour we wait, the Germans reinforce. Every hour we wait, Americans die in Bastogne. Brennan knows the math. Knows Shaw is right. Tactically. Strategically. But morally, there is no good answer. Sir, I request permission to send a scout forward. Get eyes on the town. Confirm enemy strength and civilian presence before we call for fire. Shaw considers this. You have 30 minutes, Captain. Not 1 second more. 30 minutes, then the artillery fires whether you're back or not. Understood. Brennan leaves the command post. Returns to his crew. They are clustered around the tank, smoking, passing a canteen of something that is definitely not water. Sully offers it to Brennan. He takes a sip. Whiskey. Terrible whiskey. Burns all the way down. Where'd you get this? Liberated it from a German half-track yesterday. That's looting. That's spoils of war. Different thing. Brennan almost smiles. Almost. Listen up. I need a volunteer. Reconnaissance into that town. On foot. Dangerous. Probably stupid. Anyone want to tell me no? Silence. Then Danny stands. I'll go. Brennan's stomach drops. Danny, sit down. Sir, I grew up hunting. I can move quiet. I can get in and out without being seen. So can Marcus. So can Joey. Hell, so can I. You stay here. Cap, with respect, I need this. Brennan looks at the kid, sees something in his eyes, a desperation, a need to prove something. Maybe to Brennan, maybe to himself. No, please, sir, I haven't done anything useful since the ambush. I just drove. Let me help. Let me do something that matters. Sully speaks up. Jim, let him go. He's right. He's got the skills. And he needs this. Brennan wants to say no, wants to order Danny to stay, but he sees the crew watching, sees that they agree with Sully, sees that if he refuses, Danny will resent him, will think Brennan does not trust him. And trust is everything in a tank crew. Fine, but you're back in 20 minutes, not 30, 20, understand? Yes, sir. You take a radio, you check in every 5 minutes. You see anything hinky, you pull back immediately. This is recon, not heroics. Understood. Danny grabs a handheld SCR 536 radio, checks his rifle, fixes his bayonet, looks at the crew. See you in 20. He disappears into the snow. The wait. 20 minutes has never felt longer. Brennan sits on the tank watching the tree line, smoking, checking his watch every 30 seconds. 5 minutes. Danny's voice crackles on the radio. I'm at the edge of town, seeing maybe 40, 50 Germans, civilians too, lots of them, holed up in the church. Copy. Numbers on civilians? Hard to say, maybe 100. Old people, kids, some wounded. Brennan's jaw tightens. 100 civilians, and Shaw wants to drop artillery on this town. Anything else? Yeah. The Germans are nervous, setting up roadblocks, digging in. They're expecting us. Because of course they are. Someone probably heard the tanks or saw the aerial recon. The Germans are not stupid. All right, Danny, pull back. We have what we need. Copy. On my way. Brennan waits. 10 minutes pass. No Danny. He keys the radio. Charlie, 2 to Scout 1. Report. Static. Danny, report. More static. 15 minutes. Brennan's hands are shaking now. Adrenaline, fear. The feeling every commander knows. The feeling that something has gone wrong. Sully climbs up beside him. Jim, I know. We should go get him. We don't know where he is. Then we go into that town and we find him. Brennan looks at his watch. 18 minutes. 12 minutes until artillery. If we go now, we compromise the mission. Shaw will think we're starting the assault early. He'll call the fire mission. We'll be in the impact zone. So what do? Brennan does not answer because he does not know. Then at 19 minutes, the radio crackles. Help! It is Danny's voice, weak, pained. Cap, I'm hit. I stepped on something. Mine, my leg. Where are you? Town square, by the fountain. Can't move, bleeding bad. Brennan's mind races. Town square is 400 yards into enemy territory. Surrounded by buildings, perfect kill zone. Hang tight, we're coming. No, don't. It's a trap. They're watching me, using me as bait. You come for me, they'll kill you all. We're not leaving you. Cap, please. Don't. Just call the artillery. Finish the mission. Brennan looks at Sully, at Marcus, at Joey, sees the same calculation in their eyes. If they go for Danny, they risk the whole crew. Risk the mission, risk the relief of Bastogne. If they do not go, Danny dies alone, in agony, bleeding out in the snow. There is no good choice. Sully speaks quietly. Jim, we have to try. It's suicide. Then it's suicide. But we don't leave family behind. Marcus and Joey nod. Agreement, unity. Brennan looks at his watch. 20 minutes. 10 minutes until artillery. He keys the radio to Shaw. Charlie 6, this is Charlie 2. We have a man down in the town. Request delay of fire mission. Shaw's response is immediate and harsh. Negative, Charlie 2. Mission proceeds as planned. If your man is in the impact zone, get him out. You have 10 minutes. Sir, we need more time. You have what I gave you. 10 minutes. Shaw out. The radio goes dead. Brennan turns to his crew. Mount up, we're going in. Act 2, the impossible choice. The tank rolls forward, slow, cautious, through the tree line, into the town. Buildings loom on either side, windows dark. Could be civilians, could be Germans with Panzerfausts. No way to know. Danny's voice on the radio, weaker now. Cap, turn back, please. Shut up and stay alive, we're almost there. The town square opens up ahead, and there he is. Danny, lying in the snow beside the fountain, blood pooling around his left leg. So much blood. Brennan sees it immediately. Mine shattered his femur. Femoral artery probably severed. He is bleeding out. Fast. Minutes, not hours. But that is not the worst part. The worst part is the Germans. 8 of them. SS by the look of the uniforms. Standing in a loose circle around Danny. Weapons ready. Waiting. And behind them more, in the windows. On the rooftops. Dozens. It is exactly what Danny said. A trap. The tank stops. 50 yards from the square. Brennan has a perfect view through the periscope. One of the SS officers steps forward. Tall, blonde, arrogant. He speaks in perfect English. American captain. I know you can hear me. I know you have a radio. Brennan does not respond. The officer continues. Your boy here is dying. I can see it. You can see it. He has maybe 5 minutes before he bleeds to death. Pause. But I am a reasonable man, a civilized man. I will make you an offer. You come forward. You surrender your tank and your crew. We will treat you according to the Geneva Convention, and we will save your boy. We have a medic. We have plasma. We can keep him alive. The officer smiles, or you can refuse, and you can watch him die. Your choice, Captain. Brennan's hands grip the periscope handle so hard his knuckles turn white. Sully's voice on the intercom. Jim, it's a lie. If we surrender, they'll kill us all. I know. So what do we do? Brennan looks at Danny. The kid is trying to prop himself up, trying to wave them off, trying to tell them to leave. And Brennan realizes something. Danny knows there is no good choice, knows that Brennan cannot save him without sacrificing the crew, knows that the mission matters more than one life, knows that he is already dead. The officer checks his watch. 1 minute, Captain, then we execute him. Your choice. Marcus's voice, shaking. Sir, we can't just let them kill him. Joey agrees. Cap, he's one of us. Sully says nothing, because Sully knows what Brennan is thinking, knows what choice Brennan is about to make. Brennan keys the radio to Danny. Danny, listen to me. Cap, don't. I need you to know something. Your father made me promise to take care of you, and I failed that promise. Forgive me. You didn't fail. You kept me alive this long. That's more than most. Danny, I wish there was another way. Danny's voice is surprisingly calm, almost peaceful. It's okay, Cap. Do what you have to do. I understand. Brennan closes his eyes, opens them, makes the choice. He switches to the crew intercom. Sully, target, infantry, town square, load he. Silence. Then Sully's voice, barely a whisper. Jim, don't. That's an order, Sergeant. Jim, please, load the goddamn gun. Marcus's voice breaks. Sir, you're killing him. He's already dead. If we go in there, we all die. Is that what you want? 5 dead instead of 1? Silence. Then slowly, mechanically, Marcus loads a high-explosive shell. The breech clangs shut. Sully's hands move to the gun controls. Traverse the turret, aim at the town square. At the Germans. At Danny. On target, Sully reports. Voice hollow. Brennan looks through the periscope one more time. sees Danny looking back at him, and incredibly, impossibly, the kid smiles, nods. Permission given. Absolution offered. It does not help. Brennan gives the order. Fire! The gun roars. The high explosive shell arcs through the air, detonates in the center of the town square. The Germans are obliterated, blown apart, body parts flying. Danny is at the edge of the blast radius. Not killed instantly, not that merciful, but mortally wounded. Shrapnel, burns, trauma. Through the periscope, Brennan sees him move, sees him reach out, mouth moving, calling for help, for his mother, for mercy. Then he stops moving. The snow around him is red. Brennan keys the radio. Charlie 6, this is Charlie 2. Target neutralized, proceeding with mission. Shaw's voice comes back, satisfied, approving. Good work, Charlie 2. Artillery will commence in 5 minutes. Pull back to safe distance. Roger. Brennan switches to intercom. Danny, back us out. No response. Then he realizes Danny is dead. Danny was the driver. Marcus's voice is thick with tears. I'll drive. He climbs forward, takes the driver's position, starts the tank, backs them away from the town square, away from Danny's body, away from what they just did. Nobody speaks. The artillery starts 5 minutes later. 15 minutes of sustained bombardment. The town is leveled. Every building, every street, everything. When the tanks roll in to occupy the ruins, they find no Germans. They retreated during the barrage. Mission accomplished. They also find 237 civilians, dead, in the church basement, killed by artillery. Danny's body is recovered 3 hours later, barely recognizable. The crew buries him in a field outside the town. No chaplain, no ceremony, just 5 men in a hole in the frozen ground. Brennan stands over the grave, tries to think of something to say. Nothing comes. Sully finally speaks. He was a good kid, deserved better. He deserved a better commander. Brennan says quietly, Jim, you made the only choice you could. That doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't. They shovel dirt, cover Danny, place his helmet on a crude cross Marcus fashioned from broken lumber. Marcus spits on the ground. I'm done. What? I'm done with this. Done with you. Done pretending any of this matters. Marcus, we're still in combat. Then I'll fight. But don't expect me to follow your orders with a smile. Don't expect me to pretend you're a good man, because you're not. You're a killer, same as the Germans. He walks away. Joey follows. Brennan looks at Sully. He's not wrong. He's also not right. War makes killers of all of us. Question is whether we're killing for the right reasons. And are we? Sully does not answer. Act 3, the fracture. The next 3 days are hell. Not because of combat. Combat they can handle. Combat is clean, mechanical. You see the enemy, you shoot the enemy. Simple. The hell is internal. The crew is broken, shattered. They perform their duties, but there is no cohesion, no trust. Marcus will not look at Brennan. Joey speaks only when spoken to. Sully tries to hold things together, but even he is fraying. They fight, they survive, they advance. On December 23rd, they reach Bastogne, link up with the paratroopers. Mission accomplished. The siege is broken. The men are saved. There is no celebration. That night, camped in a bombed-out barn, the crew sits in silence. No fire. Too dangerous. Just darkness and cold and the weight of what they have done. Joey breaks the silence. Cap, can I ask you something? Brennan nods. Did you hesitate before you gave the order? Did you even think about trying to save Danny? Brennan considers lying, decides against it. For about 3 seconds. Then I did the math. 1 life versus 5. The mission versus personal loyalty. And I chose the mission. Joey nods slowly. My grandmother, when they came for her, when the Nazis took her to the camp. Her neighbors could have hidden her, could have saved her, but they didn't. They did the math too. 1 Jewish woman versus their own safety, and they chose themselves. He looks at Brennan. How are you different from them? The words hit like a punch. Brennan has no answer. Marcus speaks. You're not different. You're the same. You sacrifice someone you love to save yourself. That's human nature. That's survival. But don't pretend it's noble. Don't pretend you're a hero. Sully stands. That's enough. No, let them talk. They earn the right. Sully sits back down. Brennan looks at his crew, his broken, angry, traumatized crew. You're right, all of you. I'm not a hero. I'm a man who made an impossible choice, and I'll live with it for the rest of my life. I'll see Danny's face every night. I'll hear him calling for help. And I'll know that I could have tried, could have gone into that square, could have died trying to save him. But I didn't. I chose you. I chose the mission. I chose to keep fighting. He pauses. And if I had to do it again, if I was back in that moment, I'd make the same choice. Because that's command. That's the burden. You don't get to save everyone. You just save who you can. And you carry the weight of everyone you couldn't. Silence. Then Marcus speaks, quietly. Does that make it easier, knowing you do it again? No, it makes it harder. Good. You should suffer. He deserved that much. Brennan nods. Yeah, he did. The breaking point. December 24th. Christmas Eve. The fighting continues. Marcus approaches Brennan after morning formation. His face is set, decided. Sir, I'm requesting transfer. Brennan stops, looks at him. Marcus, don't do this. I can't serve under you anymore. Not after Danny. Every time I look at you, I see him bleeding in that square. I see you giving the order. I can't do it. Can't. You're a good soldier. We need you. You need a loader. Any loader. Doesn't have to be me. Brennan knows this is true, knows he cannot change Marcus's mind, knows this is the consequence of his choice. Where do you want to go? Tank destroyer unit. Heard they're taking volunteers. Brennan nods. I'll put in the paperwork. Marcus extends his hand. Brennan shakes it. The grip is firm but cold. Professional. Nothing more. Captain, for what it's worth, I understand why you did it. I just can't forgive it. I don't expect you to. Marcus walks away. Brennan watches him go. Another piece of his crew. Another piece of himself. Gone. Sully appears beside him. That's 2 down. What do you mean 2? Joey put in for transfer yesterday. Medical discharge. Says his nerves are shot. Can't handle combat anymore. Brennan closes his eyes. When? Tomorrow. They're sending him to a hospital in England. Evaluation for shell shock. Will we see him before he goes? He doesn't want to. Said his goodbyes already. To everyone but me. Jim, you can't take this personally. How else am I supposed to take it? Sully lights a cigarette, offers one to Brennan. They smoke in silence. So it's just us now, Sully says, you and me, like the old days. The old days were better. Were they? I seem to remember a lot of dying in the old days too. At least back then I didn't hate myself. Sully blows smoke into the cold air. War changes us, makes us do things we never thought we'd do, makes us live with things we never thought we could live with. He looks at Brennan, but we survive. That's what we do. We survive and we keep fighting because someone has to. And what if I don't want to anymore? Then you become one more casualty, and Danny died for nothing. Brennan takes a long drag, lets the smoke fill his lungs. Burn. How do you do it, Sully? How do you keep going? Because I have 4 kids who need their father to come home. Because I have a wife who's counting on me. Because I made a promise. Pause. And because I have a friend who needs me. Even if he won't admit it. Brennan looks at Sully, this man who has been beside him for 27 years. Through 2 wars. Through hell. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just don't quit on me. We're almost done. Few more months. Then we go home. If we make it, we'll make it. We always do. Brennan wants to believe him. Wants to think they will both survive. We'll both go home. We'll both have a chance to forget. But he knows better. In war, nobody goes home whole. Present-day interlude. Hospital room. 1994. Brennan finishes speaking. His face is wet with tears. Michael sits frozen. Camera still recording. Not sure what to say. What to think. Finally, he speaks. Grandpa, you saved 5 men, and you completed the mission. Bastogne was saved. How many American lives did that save? Hundreds? Thousands? Does not matter. I killed my godson. You didn't kill him. The war killed him. Brennan shakes his head. No, I pulled the trigger. I gave the order. Me. Because you had to. Because I chose to. Pause. Michael leans forward. What happened after, with Marcus and Joey? Brennan takes a ragged breath. Marcus transferred to a tank destroyer unit, fought until February, then took an 88mm shell through his vehicle. Entire crew killed instantly. He pauses. I got the telegram 3 days after he died. All it said was KIA, killed in action. Grid reference, date. Nothing about how brave he was. Nothing about how he died fighting. Just coordinates and a date. And Joey survived the war. They sent him to a hospital in England for shell shock. Evaluated him for 3 months. Eventually cleared him for light duty. He worked in a supply depot until VE Day, then went home. Did you ever see him again? We wrote letters for a few years. His handwriting was shaky. had trouble forming words. The shrapnel in his neck damaged something. Made it hard to speak, hard to write. Eventually, the letter stopped. I heard he got married, had kids, became a teacher, never spoke about the war. Michael is quiet for a moment. Grandpa, what about Mary, Danny's fiancée? Did you tell her the truth? Brennan's jaw tightens. I wrote her a letter in 1945. Right after we buried him, told her Danny died heroically in combat. Told her he was brave, told her he did not suffer. All lies. Why lie? Because the truth would have destroyed her. What was I supposed to say? That I killed him? That I ordered artillery on his position? That I watched him die and did nothing? You did what you had to do. I did what I chose to do. There's a difference. He looks at Michael. You know what the worst part is? The absolute worst part? What? 3 years later, 1948, I got a letter from Mary. She was getting married. To a teacher, a good man. She wanted me to know she had moved on, found happiness. That's good, right? Brennan reaches to the bedside table, opens the drawer, pulls out a yellowed envelope, hands it to Michael. Read it, out loud, the last paragraph. Michael opens the envelope, unfolds the letter, reads. But I need to tell you something, Captain Brennan. Something Marcus Chen told me when he visited in 1947. He was drunk, angry, and he told me the truth about how Danny died. That you ordered the shot, that you killed him to save your crew. I hated you for years, hated you with everything in me. But Marcus said something else. He said you made the only choice you could, and that it destroyed you. So I am writing to say this. I forgive you. Danny loved you like a father. He would have wanted me to forgive you. You do not have to carry this alone anymore. Michael stops reading, looks at his grandfather. She forgave you. Brennan nods. She did, but I never responded because I didn't deserve it. Grandpa, I kept that letter for 46 years, read it 1,000 times, and I still can't accept it. He looks at Michael, because forgiveness from someone else doesn't matter if you can't forgive yourself. Pause. And I never could. Some choices cannot be forgiven. Some actions cannot be undone. You just carry them until you die. He looks at Michael, and that is the lesson. That is what I need you to understand. Michael waits. Life will give you impossible choices. Choices where every option is wrong, where someone suffers no matter what you decide. And when that happens, when you are standing in that moment, you choose, you do your best, and then you live with it. You do not get to avoid the consequences. You do not get to escape the guilt. You carry it every day for the rest of your life. But you keep going. You keep living. You honor the people you lost by not wasting the life they gave you. Pause. Danny died so I could complete the mission, so I could save Bastogne, so I could come home and have a family, have a son, have you. If I gave up, if I let the guilt destroy me, then he died for nothing. So I carried him every day, in everything I did, every choice I made. And that is how you honor the dead, not by forgetting, by remembering, and living well anyway. Michael is crying now. Grandpa, I'm sorry for everything you've been through. Brennan shakes his head. Do not be sorry for me. Be better than me. When you face your impossible choice, and you will, make it with your eyes open. Accept the part and keep moving forward. That is all any of us can do. He settles back into the pillow, exhausted. Now turn off the camera. I need to rest. Tomorrow we finish. Tomorrow I tell you about Sully and the final betrayal. Michael's hand freezes. Sully? What about Sully? I thought he was your best friend. He was. Until I let him die too. The words hang in the air. Michael slowly reaches for the camera. Presses stop. The screen goes black. White text appears. Hospital room. December morning, 1994. The third day. The light is different now. Harder. Sharper. Like the world knows this is the end. Michael arrives earlier today. 7 a.m. Could not sleep again. Spent the night thinking about Danny, about impossible choices, about his own life, his failed business, his crumbling marriage, his own impossible choices. He understands now why his grandfather wanted to tell this story. It is not about the war. It is about what comes after, about living with what you have done. Brennan looks worse today. Skin gray. Breathing labored even with the oxygen. The morphine drip is running, but he insisted they dial it down. Needs clarity. Needs to finish. The nurse pulled Michael aside in the hallway. Said it quietly. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Not much longer. Michael sets up the camera, last time. The final recording. He sits, presses record, red light on. Grandpa, I'm here. Brennan's eyes open, struggle to focus, then lock onto Michael's face. The end. Today we finish. His voice is weaker, fading, but determined. Yesterday I told you about Danny, about the choice, about Marcus and Joey leaving, about living with it. Michael nods. Today I tell you about Sully, about the last man I failed, and about how I learned to live with all of it. Pause. Breathing. Gathering strength. March 1945. Germany, east of the Rhine. The war is almost over. Everyone knows it. The Germans know it. We know it. Just a matter of time. But time is the cruelest thing, because men still die, even when the war is won, especially then. His eyes close, seeing it again, 50 years ago, but clear as yesterday. That is when I let my best friend die. Act 1, the final push. March 1945. Germany, 20 miles east of the Rhine River. The landscape is apocalyptic. Cities in ruins, refugees everywhere. The Wehrmacht is collapsing, but fighting hard. Desperate, fanatical. The closer to Berlin, the worse it gets. Brennan's crew is different now. Only 2 originals remain. Brennan and Sully. Marcus transferred in December, killed in February when his tank destroyer took a direct hit near Remagen. Joey medically discharged in January for combat fatigue. Last Brennan heard, he was in a hospital in England, learning to speak again after the shrapnel wound in his neck. So now it is Brennan and Sully. 27 years of friendship. 2 wars, countless battles. Still alive, still fighting, still carrying the weight. The replacements are young, younger than Danny was. 18, 19, fresh faces, eager. Do not understand yet what war costs, what it takes from you that you never get back. Private First Class Wilson. Driver, farm kid from Nebraska. Quiet, competent. Reminds Brennan of Danny. Tries not to think about it. Corporal Hayes, loader, Boston. Talks too much, laughs too loud. Compensation for fear. Always making jokes nobody finds funny. Private First Class Rodriguez. Radio operator. Texas. Steady, professional. The best of the 3. Keeps his head down and does his job. They have been together for 6 weeks. Not long enough to trust completely. Not long enough to be a crew. But it is what they have. The mission today is simple. Advance east toward a town called Hessler. Population 800. Now a German stronghold. Last major resistance before the road to Berlin opens up. Simple, except nothing is simple anymore. The briefing is at 0600. New colonel. Shaw died in January. Heart attack at his desk. Stress, they said. Brennan wonders if it was guilt. All those decisions. All those men lost. All that weight. The new colonel is younger, aggressive, eager to end the war with glory. Dangerous combination. His name is Colonel Mitchell. West Point. 40 years old. Never saw combat until 2 months ago. Gentlemen, Hessler is the key. Take it and the road to Berlin is open. We could be in Berlin in a week. End this war. Go home. He pauses for effect. Intelligence says the town is defended by maybe 200 Germans. Old men, boys, walking wounded. Nothing we can't handle. Brennan has heard this before. Intelligence is always wrong, always optimistic, always gets men killed. But he says nothing. Learned his lesson. Keep your head down, follow orders, survive. The colonel continues. We go in hard and fast. Armor first, infantry follows. Clear the town building by building. No quarter, no mercy. We're done being nice. Someone asks about civilians. The colonel's face hardens. If they're still there, they made their choice. We're not here to save Germans. We're here to defeat them. Understood? A murmur of acknowledgement. Mitchell scans the room. This is it, gentlemen. The last push. Let's finish this war. Dismissed. The briefing breaks up. Sully waits for Brennan outside the tent. Lights a cigarette. Offers one to Brennan. They smoke in silence. Finally, Sully speaks. This is a bad idea. Most things in this war are. Jim, we're 20 miles from the end. 20 miles and we go home. Why risk it now? Because those are the orders. Screw the orders. Let someone else take this town. We've done enough. Lost enough. Brennan looks at his friend, sees the exhaustion, the weight. 27 years of fighting. Sully is 39 years old but looks 60. Gray at the temples. Lines deep in his face. Hands shake slightly when he is not holding something. Can't, Sully. We're assigned. We go. Sully takes a long drag, exhales slowly. You know what scares me most? Not dying. I made my peace with that years ago. What scares me is dying now. After everything. After all the boys we lost. Danny, Marcus, all of them. Dying this close to the end seems cruel. You won't die. I'll make sure of it. Sully laughs, bitter. Like you made sure Danny wouldn't die? The words hit hard. Brennan says nothing. Sully shakes his head. Christ, that was low. I'm sorry. It was true. Yeah, but still low. They finish their cigarettes. Flick them into the mud. Come on, Brennan says. Let's get this over with. The town. Hessler is burning before they even arrive. Airstrike hit it at dawn. B-17s, heavy bombers, turned half the town into rubble. The other half is on fire. The smoke is visible from 5 miles out. Black column rising into gray skititu. The tank column rolls in through smoke and flames, 30 Shermans, 500 infantry, overwhelming force. For the first hour, there is no resistance, no Germans, no civilians, just ruins and corpses. Brennan allows himself to hope, maybe this one will be easy. Maybe they will take the town without a fight. Maybe they will survive one more day. Then the shooting starts. Not from the town, from the hills beyond. Germans have retreated to high ground, dug in, turned the town into a killing ground. Anyone who enters gets caught in crossfire. Clever, ruthless, effective. The column stops, takes cover, calls for artillery. Brennan's tank is in the center of town. Stone buildings on 3 sides. Burned out church on the 4th, exposed, vulnerable. Sully scans through the periscope. I see infantry on the ridge, maybe 50, maybe more. Artillery? Yeah, hidden in the tree line. Can't get a clear shot. We need to pull back, regroup. Brennan keys the radio. Charlie 6, this is Charlie 2. We're sitting ducks here. Request permission to withdraw to cover. Mitchell's voice comes back, irritated. Negative, Charlie 2. Hold position. Infantry is moving up to clear the buildings. You provide cover. Sir, we're taking fire from elevated positions. We can't effectively return fire from here. Hold position. That's an order. The radio goes dead. Sully mutters something under his breath, probably profanity. Wilson, the driver, speaks up, voice shaking. Sir, we should move. My cousin served in Italy. He said never park a tank in the middle of town. We're a target. We have orders. But sir, we have orders. Brennan's voice is sharp, too sharp, the stress showing. Wilson goes quiet. They sit, waiting, taking sporadic fire. Bullets pinging off armor, ineffective but unnerving. Then Rodriguez on the radio reports. Sir, I'm hearing German chatter. They're calling in coordinates. I think they're targeting us specifically. Brennan's stomach drops. Artillery? Yes, sir. How long? Rodriguez listens to the traffic. Maybe 2 minutes. They're adjusting fire now. Brennan makes a decision. Wilson, back us up. Get us behind that church wall now. Sir, the colonel said. I don't care what the colonel said. Move. Wilson throws the tank in reverse, starts backing up. They make it 10 yards. Then the first artillery shell hits. Not a direct hit. Close enough. The concussion rocks the tank. Something breaks inside. Hydraulics screaming. The turret locks. Cannot traverse. Sully tries to manually crank it. Too slow, too stiff. We're dead in the water, he reports. Second shell lands. Closer. Shrapnel rattles off the hull like hail. Hayes, the loader, is praying. Hail Mary full of grace. Over and over. Third shell. Direct hit. Penetration. The moment. Everything happens at once and in slow motion. The shell punches through the turret side. German 88mm. Armor piercing. Designed to do exactly this. Unstoppable at this range. It does not explode, not immediately. Bounces around inside the crew compartment. Ricochets. Super hot metal carving through soft flesh and hard steel. Hayes, the loader, takes the first hit. Shrapnel removes most of his head. Kills him instantly. Body collapses across the breach. Rodriguez catches fragments in the chest, lungs punctured, drowning in his own blood. Eyes wide. Trying to breathe. Cannot. Dying but not dead yet. Sully is thrown back against the turret wall. Something hit him in the abdomen. Cannot tell what. Too much blood. Too much damage. Brennan is hit in the left leg. Hot metal through the thigh. Femoral artery. The same wound that killed Danny. Poetic. Cruel. Blood pumping with each heartbeat. Wilson in the driver's position is untouched. Protected by angle and armor. Lucky. Or unlucky. Depends on perspective. Smoke fills the compartment. Acrid. choking, cordite and burning oil and cooking flesh, fire starting somewhere, electrical, spreading. Brennan's training takes over. Even wounded, even bleeding out. Training is everything. Bail out, now! Wilson does not hesitate. Opens driver's hatch, drops out, gone. Rodriguez tries to move, cannot. Too much damage. Looks at Brennan, mouth opening, closing, trying to say something, maybe sorry, maybe help, maybe just goodbye. Then he stops moving. Hayes is already dead, body wedged against the loader's position. Sully is still conscious, hand pressed to his stomach, blood seeping between fingers. Too much blood. Jim, I can't move my legs. Brennan looks down, sees why. Sully's lower spine, shattered or severed. Everything below the waist is dead weight. Gone. The fire is spreading. Ammunition will cook off in less than a minute. When it does, the tank becomes a crematorium. They have seconds. We have to go. Now. Sully shakes his head. I told you, can't move. Then I'll carry you. Jim, you're bleeding out. Look at your leg. You carry me, we both die. Brennan knows this is true, can feel his strength fading, blood pooling in his boot, vision tunneling at the edges, shock setting in. But he reaches for Sully anyway, tries to lift him. Cannot. Too heavy, too weak, too much blood loss. Tries again, gets Sully halfway up. His wounded leg gives out. They both collapse. Brennan's head cracks against something metal. Stars. Pain. Sully coughs, blood on his lips, internal bleeding, massive. Jim, stop. You have to go. Not without you. Yes, without me. Sully reaches into his jacket, pulls out the photograph. His family. 4 kids and his wife Margaret. Creased, worn, carried through 2 wars, blood on it now. He presses it into Brennan's hand. Tell them I was thinking of them at the end. Tell them I love them more than anything. Brennan's vision is blurring. Shock, blood loss, grief. Tell them yourself. We're getting out of here. Jim, listen to me. Sully grabs Brennan's collar, pulls him close, eye to eye. You remember what you told me after Danny? You said you made the choice to save the crew, to complete the mission. You said that's what command means. I remember. This is the same choice. You stay, we both burn. You go, you live. You finish this war. You go home to your family. You tell my kids about me. You make sure they know who their father was. Sully, I can't. You can. You will. The fire is everywhere now. Flames licking at ammunition racks. 60 seconds, maybe less. The heat is unbearable. Sully pushes Brennan away, hard as he can with failing strength. Go, that's an order. From a friend. Go. Brennan's face is wet. Cannot tell if tears or blood or sweat. Does not matter. Frank, I wish it was me instead of you. I know, but it's not. So live. Live for both of us. Live for Danny. Live for all of them. Make it count. Brennan drags himself toward the commander's hatch. Every movement agony. His leg is useless. Has to pull himself up with arms only. Hands slipping in blood. His blood. Sully's blood. Rodriguez's blood. He gets halfway out. Looks back. Sully is propped against the turret wall. Somehow found a cigarette, lighting it with a Zippo. Hands shaking, face peaceful, resigned, ready. He sees Brennan looking, manages a smile, waves. Go on, Jim, get out of here. Pause. And Jim? Yeah? We had a hell of a run. Best friend I ever had. Brennan cannot speak, throat too tight, just nods. He pulls himself out, drops off the tank, crawls through mud and debris, away from the fire, away from his friend, away from the choice he did not make. Behind him, the ammunition cooks off. The tank explodes. The fireball engulfs everything. Heat wave knocks Brennan flat. Ears ringing. Cannot hear. Cannot see. Just heat and light and pain. Sully dies instantly. Vaporized. Nothing left to bury. Brennan watches from 30 yards away. Lying in the mud. Bleeding. Dying. Watching his best friend burn. Then Wilson is there. Dragging him. Other soldiers helping. Medic. Tourniquet. Morphine. Brennan passes out. Wakes up 3 days later in a field hospital. Leg saved. Barely. Will walk with a limp for the rest of his life. But he will walk. He will live. Sully will not. Act 2, The Aftermath. April 1945. Field hospital. Germany. The war is ending. Radio reports say Hitler is dead. Berlin has fallen. Surrender is imminent. Brennan does not care. Feels nothing. Empty. A chaplain visits, young, earnest, wants to talk about Sully, about sacrifice, about honor, about God's plan. Brennan tells him to leave. The chaplain persists, quotes scripture, talks about heaven. Brennan threatens violence. Not loud, quiet, calm, sincere. If you do not leave right now, I will hurt you. The chaplain leaves. An officer comes, captain from S2, intelligence, wants to debrief, wants to know what happened in Hessler. Brennan tells him all of it. The bad orders, the exposed position, the artillery, the choice, Sully's death. The officer nods, takes notes, thanks him for his service, then says, you'll be recommended for another medal, Silver Star probably, for holding position under fire. Brennan stares at him. You want to give me a medal for getting my crew killed, for surviving while better men died. Sir, you followed orders. You did your duty. My duty was to bring my men home. I failed. The officer closes his notebook. Captain Brennan, the war is almost over. You should be proud. You served honorably. Get out, sir. Get out. The officer leaves. Wilson visits. The driver. Sole survivor besides Brennan. Kid looks shell-shocked. Hollow. 20 years old but eyes like an old man. He sits beside the bed. Says nothing for a long time. Finally, sir, I should have moved faster. Should have gotten us out of there sooner, before the artillery. Brennan looks at him, this kid, blaming himself for something that was not his fault. Not your fault. You did what you could. I gave you bad orders. I kept us in a kill zone. That's on me. But Sergeant Sullivan did what he chose to do. He chose to stay so I could go. He made that choice. Not you, not me. Him. Wilson nods. Does not believe it. Will carry guilt anyway. That is how it works. Sir, what do I do now? How do I live with this? Brennan considers the question. The one he has been asking himself since Danny died. Since Harris burned. Since Marcus transferred. Since Joey broke. You carry it. That's all. You carry it and you keep going. Because that's what they would want. Wilson wipes his eyes. I'm going home next week. Rotation. The war's almost over. They're sending me home. Good. Go home. Forget this place. Forget all of this. Will you forget? Brennan shakes his head. No, I'll carry it until I die. Wilson leaves. Brennan is alone. He thinks about Sully, about 27 years of friendship, about all the times they saved each other, about the last time when Brennan could not. He thinks about Danny, about Harris, about O'Brien, about Marcus, about Joey, about all the men he lost, all the men he failed. He thinks about going home, about facing Sully's wife, Margaret, about telling her how her husband died, about looking his children in the eyes. He wants to die, right here, right now. End it. Stop carrying the weight. But Sully's last words echo, live, live for both of us. So he does not die. He lives, because that is the harder choice. And he owes Sully that much. May 1945, the war ends. Victory in Europe Day. May 8th, 1945. The war is over. Celebrations everywhere. Men crying, singing, drinking, hugging. Relief. Brennan sits alone in a hospital courtyard, watching, not participating, cannot feel what they feel. A nurse approaches, young, pretty, kind eyes. Her name is Helen. Captain Brennan, you should be celebrating. Should I? You survived. You won. The war is over. Did I win? She sits beside him. Quiet, comfortable silence. Finally, she speaks. My brother died in France. Normandy Beach. First day, he was 19. I'm sorry. Don't be. He died doing what he thought was right. I'm proud of him. Even though he's gone, especially because he's gone, his death meant something. Helped end this war. Helped save people. That matters. Brennan considers this. What if his death did not mean anything? What if he died because of bad orders? Bad leadership? Bad luck? Does it matter? He still died believing it mattered. That's what I hold on to. His belief, his courage, his sacrifice. She stands, pats his shoulder. You survived, Captain. Make it mean something. Live well. That's how you honor the dead. She walks away. Brennan sits, thinks, makes a decision. Act 3, coming home. June 1945. Boston, America. Home. Brennan stands on Sully's front porch. The house is small, white paint peeling, flower boxes in the windows. can hear children playing inside. He has been standing here for 10 minutes. Cannot knock, cannot move, cannot breathe. Finally, the door opens. Margaret Sullivan, Sully's wife, 38 years old, red hair graying at the temples, tired eyes, wearing an apron dusted with flour. She looks at Brennan, knows immediately why he is here, has been expecting this, dreading this. Jim, Maggie, they stand in silence. Come in, please. He follows her inside. The house smells like cooking, bread baking, like normal life, like everything he lost. The four children are in the living room, playing, stop when they see him, stare. Maggie, the oldest, 12 years old, Sully's eyes, Margaret's hair. Thomas, 10, serious, Sully's jawline. Little Frank, 8, loud, rambunctious, until now. Quiet. Sarah, 5, doesn't understand, not yet. They know he brought news. Wait for it. Brennan sits. Margaret brings coffee, real coffee, not the terrible stuff from the war. Sits across from him. Tell me, he died in Germany. March 19th, tank hit by artillery. He saved my life. Made me escape while he stayed behind. Margaret closes her eyes, nods, expected this, feared this. He would do that. I tried to save him, tried to carry him out, but I was wounded, bleeding, not strong enough. I failed him. Her eyes open, fierce. I know. You can't. No, you weren't there. She leans forward. I know my husband. I know he would never leave a man behind. And I know he would make you save yourself. That's who he was. That's what he did. Pause. He died doing what he always did, protecting the people he loved, protecting you. Brennan's throat tightens, cannot speak. She continues, don't you dare apologize. Don't you dare feel guilty. Frank made his choice. He chose to give you a chance. Don't waste it. The children are listening. Little Sarah starts crying, does not fully understand, but knows her father is not coming home. Thomas, the oldest boy, stands, walks over to Brennan, looks up at him with Sully's eyes. Mr. Brennan, was my dad brave? Brennan kneels, eye level with the boy, sees Sully in his face, in his stance, in his voice. Your dad was the bravest man I ever knew. He saved my life more times than I can count, and he died saving me one last time. Thomas nods, processing. Then asks the question Brennan has been dreading. Will you tell me about him? Every story I know. The boy sits back down. Brennan stays for 3 hours. Tells stories about the Argonne in World War I, about training in Georgia, about combat in France and Belgium and Germany, about Sully's humor, his loyalty, his strength, his love for his family. He edits out the horror, the fear, the choices, the darkness, gives them the sanitized version, the hero version. They need that, deserve that. When he leaves, Margaret walks him to the porch, closes the door behind them. Private. Jim, thank you for coming. Thank you for telling them. I owed Frank that much. You owed him nothing. He loved you like a brother, would have done anything for you, did do everything for you. She pauses. Now you do something for me, for him. Anything. Live. Live well. Have a family. Be happy. Don't waste the life he gave you. Brennan nods, cannot trust his voice. She continues, and Jim, come back. Visit us. The kids need to know you, need to hear about their father. You're the only one who can tell them. I'll come back, I promise. She smiles, sad but real. Good, because you're family now, whether you like it or not. Brennan walks away from that house, carries Sully's family in his memory. He keeps his promise, visits them every year for the next 40 years, watches the kids grow up, pays for Thomas to go to college when money is tight, walks Maggie down the aisle at her wedding because her father cannot, holds baby Frank when little Frank becomes big Frank and has a son of his own, keeps the promise until the day he dies. Present day, the final truth. Hospital room. December 1994. Brennan finishes speaking, exhausted, fading fast. Michael has been crying for the last 20 minutes. Camera still recording, documenting everything. Grandpa, you didn't kill Sully. He chose to stay. You didn't have a choice. Brennan shakes his head weakly. There is always a choice. I could have stayed, could have died with him, could have refused to leave. Then you both would have died. Yes, but at least I would not have survived to feel this guilt. Michael leans forward. Is that what you wanted? To die? Every day for 50 years. But you didn't. No, because Margaret told me to live. Because Sully ordered me to live. Because I owed it to them. Because giving up would mean his death was wasted. So you lived. I survived. Living is different. Michael is quiet for a moment. Grandpa, what was the difference between Danny and Sully? You ordered Danny's death, but Sully chose his own. Why do you carry the same guilt? Brennan's eyes close. A tear runs down his weathered cheek. That is the question I have asked myself for 50 years, and the only answer I have is this. Pause. With Danny, I made the choice. I gave the order. I actively killed him. That is one kind of guilt. With Sully, I accepted his choice. I left him. I passively let him die. That is another kind of guilt. And I don't know which is worse, killing someone to save others or letting someone die to save yourself. Both haunt me. Both destroy me. Both make me wish I had died instead. But Michael, here's what I learned, what I need you to understand. Michael waits. Guilt is not about whether you deserve it. Guilt is about what you do with it. I could have drunk myself to death, could have eaten a bullet, could have wasted the life Sully gave me. But I didn't. I lived. I had a family. I visited Sully's kids. I tried to be better. I tried to make his sacrifice mean something. And that is all any of us can do. Carry the weight and keep moving forward. Not because it gets easier. It doesn't. But because that is what we owe the people who died for us. Michael is crying. Grandpa, how do I do that? How do I carry my own weight? Tell me what's wrong. Michael takes a breath. My business failed. I lost everything. Had to declare bankruptcy. My wife left me. Took our daughter. I can't see her, except supervised visits. I feel like a failure. Like I've ruined my life. Brennan opens his eyes, looks at his grandson, really sees him. Mike, listen to me. Business failure is not the same as moral failure. Bankruptcy is not the same as cowardice. Divorce is not the same as death. You can rebuild a business. You can repair a marriage. You can earn back trust. You cannot bring back the dead. Pause. I killed men I loved, and I have to live with that forever. You failed at business. That is fixable. That is temporary. That is nothing. But it feels like everything. I know. But feelings are not facts. You feel like a failure, but you are not. You are a man who tried and fell short. That is being human. So what do? You get up. You try again. You call your wife. You fight for your daughter. You rebuild. You prove to yourself that one failure does not define you. And you remember, I carried Danny and Sully for 50 years. You can carry a failed business for 50 days. Then you let it go and move on. Michael nods, understanding. Thank you, Grandpa. Brennan's breathing is shallow now. The morphine drip has done its work. He is fading. One more thing. Yes, Sully's kids, Thomas, Maggie, Frank, Sarah, they are still alive, still in Boston. I have their addresses in my effects. Okay, go see them. Tell them you are my grandson. Tell them I told you everything. Tell them I never forgot their father. I will. And Mike, tell them something else, something I could never say. What? Tell them their father gave me a gift, the gift of life, and I tried to use it well. I tried to honor him. I tried to be worthy. Pause, shallow breathing. Tell them that at the end, I hope I succeeded. His eyes close, will not open again. Michael presses the call button. Nurses rush in. Doctor arrives. But they all know this is the end. Michael holds his grandfather's hand on. Camera still recording. Witnessing. Brennan's lips move. One final word, barely audible. Forgiven. Then nothing. Captain James Brennan, age 92, Medal of Honor recipient, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart with 2 oak leaf clusters, veteran of 2 world wars, father, grandfather, friend, dead. The machines flatline. The nurses step back. The doctor checks his watch, calls the time. 15:23, 3:23 p.m., December 21st, 1994. Michael sits, holding his grandfather's hand, camera recording the empty bed, the silent machines, the end. He does not turn it off, lets it run, documenting the silence, the absence, the wait. Epilogue, 2 weeks later. The funeral is small. Military honors, honor guard, flag folded with precision, taps played, 3 volley salute, 21 guns. Michael stands beside the grave, watching his grandfather's coffin lowered into frozen ground. Beside him stand 4 elderly people, strangers, until today. Thomas Sullivan, age 60, retired teacher. Sully's oldest son has his father's eyes, his mother's red hair gone white. Maggie Sullivan Brendan, age 62, married, 5 grandchildren. No relation to the captain despite sharing his last name. Coincidence, fate, something. Frank Sullivan Jr., age 58, mechanic, 3 kids, never served. Didn't have to. Father died so he wouldn't have to. Sarah Sullivan Chen, age 55, doctor, married with 2 kids, Chinese-American husband. Marcus would have approved. Michael contacted them a week ago, showed them the tapes, all 3 parts, 6 hours of footage, his grandfather's confession, his burden, his truth. They watched together, in Thomas's living room, all 4 of them. Michael, they cried, all of them, for their father, for Brennan, for the weight both men carried. After the burial, they gather at a bar in Boston, Sully's favorite place, still standing after 50 years. Different owners, same location, same stools. Thomas orders a round, 5 whiskeys, 1 for each of them, 1 for the empty chair. He raises his glass. To Captain James Brennan, the man who loved our father, the man who survived when our father did not, the man who spent 50 years believing he failed. Pause. He didn't fail. Our father chose to give his life so his friend could live. And that friend honored that choice every single day for 50 years. He takes a drink, the others follow. Maggie speaks next, voice thick with emotion. Jim Brennan was at my wedding. Walked me down the aisle because Daddy couldn't. Paid for Tommy's college when Mom couldn't afford it. Sent us money every Christmas, anonymous. We only found out after he died. She wipes her eyes. He was not our father, but he was the next best thing. He was family, and we loved him. Frank raises his glass again, to Dad and to Jim, together again, finally at peace, finally forgiven. They drink. Sarah, the youngest, turns to Michael. Thank you for showing us the tapes, for letting us know the truth. Michael nods. He wanted you to know, wanted you to understand. We always understood. Our mother told us how much your grandfather loved our father, how much guilt he carried, how hard he tried to make it right. She smiles. We never blamed him. We just wished he could forgive himself. Michael's voice breaks. Could he? At the end, Sarah thinks about Brennan's final word. Forgiven. Yes, I think he did, finally. They sit together. 5 people connected by loss, by memory, by the man who carried the weight so they did not have to. Outside, snow begins to fall, soft, gentle, covering the city in white. A new beginning, a clean slate. Michael takes out his phone, stares at it, gathering courage, then dials his wife, the one he has been separated from for 8 months. She answers on the 3rd ring. Hello? It's me. Can we talk? I have something I need to tell you. Pause. I failed. I made mistakes. I hurt you and Emma. And I've been carrying that guilt like it was the end of the world. But I learned something. From my grandfather, from his story. Failure is not the end. Guilt is not the same as worthlessness. And I can still fix this, if you'll let me try. Silence on the other end. Then, come home. We'll talk. He hangs up, looks at Sully's children, sees them smiling. Thomas puts a hand on his shoulder. Your grandfather gave us a gift. He showed us what it means to carry the weight, to keep going, to honor the people we lost. Now you do the same. Live well, love hard. Don't waste the life you've been given. Michael nods, walks out into the snow. Behind him, the 5 people who loved Brennan and Sully finish their drinks. Raise one final toast. To the men who carried the weight, to the friends who never quit, to the generation that saved the world and never asked for thanks. Rest easy, Captain Brennan. Your burden is lifted. Your watch is ended. Your sacrifice is remembered. You are forgiven. By us, by them, by yourself. Rest. Final scene, 1 year later. Michael sits at a desk, laptop open, the 3 recorded tapes beside him. Digitized, edited, labeled. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. He has spent a year working on this, adding photos, historical footage, context, music, transitions. The final documentary is 2 hours and 6 minutes long, titled simply The Last Transmission, credited to Captain James Brennan and his grandson Michael Brennan. He uploads it to YouTube, writes a description, my grandfather's confession, his burden, his truth. For 50 years, he carried the weight of impossible choices made in war. This is his story and the lesson he wanted to share. That guilt does not have to destroy you. That failure is not the end. That you can carry the weight and still live well. That forgiveness must come from within, but connection with others helps. This is for every veteran who came home broken, Every person who made an impossible choice. Every human who thinks they are beyond redemption. You are not. You can still live. You can still matter. You can still be forgiven. He presses upload. The video processes, goes live. Within a week, it has 10,000 views, then 100,000, then 1,000,000, then 10 million. Comments flood in, thousands per day. Veterans sharing their own stories, their own guilt, their own Danny, their own Sully. Sons and daughters learning about their fathers for the first time, understanding the silence, the distance, the nightmares. People crying, healing, connecting. A Vietnam vet in Texas. I carried my lieutenant for 40 years. This helped me let go. A daughter in Oregon. My dad never talked about the war. Now I understand why. Thank you. A young soldier in Afghanistan. I made a choice last month. Saved 3 men, lost 1. This video saved my life. The video goes viral, not because of shock value, not because of spectacle, but because it tells the truth about war, about guilt, about the cost of survival, about the possibility of redemption. And people need that truth. Michael reads the comments. Every single one sees the impact, sees his grandfather's mission completed, to tell the story, to share the burden, to teach the lesson. That impossible choices do not make you a monster. They make you human. And being human means carrying the weight, learning from it, growing because of it, connecting with others who carry their own weight, and keeping going, always keeping going, for the people who died, for the people who loved you, for yourself. Michael closes the laptop, looks at his grandfather's photo on the desk, Brennan in his uniform, 1945, young, alive, about to come home. Thank you, Grandpa, for everything. He goes home, to his wife, to his daughter, to his rebuilt life, to his second chance. And he lives well, because that is what Brennan taught him. That is what Sully died for. That is what Danny's sacrifice demanded. That is what we all owe the people who loved us. To live, despite the weight, because of the weight, to carry it and keep moving forward. Always forward, never forgetting, always honoring, living well. End of the last transmission. In memory of all those who carried the weight, and all those who loved them enough to help them set it down. War does not end when the shooting stops. It ends when the last veteran finally forgives himself. It ends when we tell their stories. It ends when we remember. Rest easy, soldiers. Your watch has ended. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are remembered. You are home. Final frame. White text on black screen. Captain James Brennan, 1902 to 1994. Medal of Honor, Silver Star, Bronze Star. Purple Heart, he carried the weight so we did not have to. Staff Sergeant Frank Sullivan, 1905 to 1945. He gave his life so his friend could live. Corporal Daniel Reeves, 1925 to 1944. He was 19 years old. Corporal Marcus Chen, 1917 to 1945. He proved his loyalty and died for the country that doubted him. PFC, Joseph Goldman, 1923 to 2003. He survived the war but never forgot why he fought. And all the others who never came home. We remember, we honor, we carry on. For them, always for them. The end.